Hey, so yeah, a bit of a wrap up. I made some mistakes on those games, but I'm actually pretty happy with the build I'm having. I'm not 100% sold on Frantic Inventory. I think it's serviceable, it does its job, but sometimes it's a bit clunky. So I think I will try other builds too. So I'm not sold on this is the correct way of having card draw in your deck. So I'm going to try and solve this problem first. The miscalculation felt pretty good. Cycling 2 is a bit expensive, but having a counter for anything on turn 2, even when you have a bit of a clunky mana base, can work. So I was actually happy with this as a fifth counter spell. The other option would be like exclude. So maybe if we go down on card draw, we can go for excludes instead. I think I like that idea. I'm going to build it soon. Then the sideboard plan. I kind of down on Echoing Truth. I only bring it against some matchups. Yeah, it's okay, I guess. The thing is that I bring it in the same matchups I bring Curfew, so it feels like a lot of overlap there. I bring it too against tokens, but against tokens I already have Electricity. So again, it has a bit of an overlap. Maybe Fairies is a more is more prevalent in the meta than another Stormborn Geist would be fine. The thing is that we fought like 5 different decks here. I don't remember exactly what was this, so I'm going to watch the replay a bit. I don't remember what he was on. I'm going to just look a bit because my mind doesn't really help me here. Yeah, so let's see. Oh yeah, the Boros player, of course. It was a bit of a newer player there, so but it felt like that. He didn't make the sickest place, but he represented correctly. So okay, so I think the sideboard is kind of correct. I never felt the need to have a graveyard hate, which was one of the issues I had. Like I didn't want to play like Relic of Progenitus in the same deck that I played Sullen Sandstorm and Frantic Inventory. Basically, that was it. Then on the creature department, Fairy Seer felt a bit kind of meh. And against the linear deck, I felt like Delver would have been so much better. If I had Delver, I think those matches were almost free because they were able to go off like in turns 7 or 10 or something like that. So Delver would have been super good there. But yeah, against like it's good against linear decks that you are the aggressor. So not being able to play the tempo plan is a bit rough. So that's one of the things I'm most concerned on this deck. Yeah, so I think I'm also a bit rusty with this deck. You saw me like going, I do this right, and then I've been immediately after doing that, it's like, oh no, I open myself to whatever they can have. Like I realized those things. I try to say it aloud. There were a couple of places where I felt like I made a misplay, but not a super wrong mistake. Well, I made some of those, but most of them were like not playing around things or just jamming when I didn't have to jam or something like that. So overall, I'm kind of happy with the result, even though it was a bit rough, because I was able to learn some things, see a bit of the meta, and try to build from there. I'm going to try and build it differently. So if I had to change it a bit, I would go like something like this, changing the inventories for Think Twice, I guess, like 2 Think Twices instead of Frantic Inventory, going down on Miscalc, going up on Exclude, and yeah, something like this. So we have Exclude as additional 2 for 1s, Think Twice as additional card draw, and yeah, maybe Yeah, so we have 8 removal spells, which is more or less what I want. So I don't want to have more. We could have... we could go in a more draw-go strategy by removing the Fairy Seers and going up on Duelist. So the thing with Duelist is that it's okay, it's not great, so we can play like 3 instead. And now we have enough slots to, instead of going think twice, going with inventory. So I have two different builds right now in mind, right? One is the draw go strategy. I'm going to do it now, so I'm going to open a new copy. Okay, this is the one. Okay, so this is going to be draw go. So I have this idea in mind where I remove the think twice now because we have enough slots for frantic. And now we can go like, let's see. This is all the removal spells that we have, and the sorceries are going to be these ones. The rest is all instant speed interaction. So this is mostly a draw go strategy. Maybe the sideboard. I think it kind of works the same thing. Yeah. So this is one of the builds. Something like this would be one of the builds. The other build would be like the Delver deck, where we have a bit more aggressive strategy without the duelists, going Delver of Secrets. I think I want, no, 1 Ponder. I want a bit more of the Brainstorm because we have a bit more value in going Brainstorm. I don't think we want a raid in this deck, prefer Bolt. And because we want a bit more reach, Think Twice is awful. So something like either Fairy Seer or Fairy Miscreant. I think Fairy Seer is better here. Maybe like 2. Yeah, something like this, and we have to find slots for card draw. If we go with Frantic Inventory, it's kind of the safest play, let's say. So we could go something like 4 Frantic Inventories and go down 1 land, something like this, maybe 1 less Brainstorm, because we're cutting a land for a Ponder, which help us find lands. So something like this would be Brew Red Delver. So this would be better if you find yourself against Tron, for example. Delver works very well versus them. Yeah, and then lastly, copy of this deck. The blue-red fairies, kind of regular strategy, mid-range strategy, if you will. Like 3 Fairy Seers, a Braid instead of Bolt. The foil one, of course, and going down on Frantic Inventory for the excludes. On the Think Twice. What am I missing? 1 land, of course. Wobbles, counter magic. So I don't recall. Okay, we had 1 more Fairy Seer. And I don't remember what else. Maybe like a Rain of Revelation. And maybe one island for Boiler Works. Yeah, something like this. Maybe adding either another one of the Fire Eyes or adding Merchant's Call or something like that. So this build is way more controlish, and we don't have any wood ways of closing the game. Only ninjas and card draw, basically. So this is one of the builds I had in mind. And of course, the previous one was kind of okay, was correct. I didn't really like the Frantic Inventories, but Think Twice is kind of pretty bad too, so I don't know. It's kind of weird. Then, lastly, I want to show you what the blue-black fairies deck I'm thinking of. Something like this. Maybe 4 cast down is kind of weird. Something like expected funds recall, instead of recall and a cast down, instead of a cast down. I want to forgot the name. Decay? No. My god, I can't really remember the name of the card. Oh my god, doesn't really help. It doesn't really happen that often. So let's see if this works. Agony Warp, that one. So Agony Warp is a bit better when you play the Monarch main deck because it can help you basically stop 2 creatures from hitting you. Yeah, so that's the reason. 6 removal spells. We had 8 in the other one. Maybe the spell belongs in the sideboard and kind of having another one in another cast down. Something like this, maybe. I don't know. Something like this build I would go for. I'll try to reach Dolphin Pengu up to see what build he was on. I really liked his build. I don't think he was on Turn of the Blood Rose main. I think he was on 4 Brainstorm, 4 Gurmex, and 4 cast downs. But we only saw one, so I don't really know. And maybe this calculation is a bit wrong here. I don't know. I try to reach him out and see if I can kind of do a bit of a video there too, maybe if I have something to show. So yeah, thank you so much for staying with me, and I'll try to continue developing my Blue-Red Fairies deck because there is still development to be made here. Yeah, so I also, as I said before, I think I'm on the right track on understanding the meta now. I learned a bit more by playing this league. I'll try to play more leagues too, maybe not record everything, I don't know. I'm a busy person, so sometimes it's very rough for me to kind of join like 5 or 10 leagues on a week. I can join maybe 1 or 2. But I'll try to continue developing on this and try to follow the meta, the challenge meta, and try to even maybe next week join a challenge if I can. That would be awesome. I really like the challenges. I like it even more than playing just random leagues because you actually face the best. And leagues sometimes you can face like we did with facing like something unexpected like the cycling deck. That we didn't have any sideboard actually for it. We didn't have any graveyard hate because we don't really recognize that as a valuable strategy, basically. So yeah, yes. So this build I think would be good if the meta is about this being a valid control strategy. I don't think that's the meta. That's where the meta is right now. This build is if the meta is a bit more linear and you want to have some proactive game plan versus those decks. And this deck is kind of an experiment. Again, it's similar to the other one, but it plays like Fairy Duelist, which is situationally very good and situationally kind of bad. So it's a bit of a gamble. Each of these builds has its pros and cons, so I recommend you try to see for yourself which works better for your meta or something. So thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.